AI is rising, Hollywood is imploding, and our creativity? It's been on life support since the 90s. We're not just facing a cultural crisis, we're facing a human one. Because creativity isn't just about art, it's about who we are. And the more we lose touch with it, the more we lose touch with our humanity. But first, come and walk down memory lane with me for a moment. In 1990, before entering the fourth grade at Canfield Avenue School, I took something called the Torrance test. It's basically like an IQ test for creativity. I remember two parallel lines. I drew a gun and wrote, "Janie's got a gun," by Aerosmith. Another page had a sideways V. I drew a flying house and a tornado and titled it, "We're not in Kansas anymore." That test landed me in my new school's gifted and talented program, Enrichment, ran by our librarian, Mrs. Werner. 3 other kids made the cut: Gary, Frank, and Scott. Gary, the class clown, called me Lip Jagger. But as the meme goes, she didn't know it yet, but her lips would save her a fortune in filler. Frank devoured books and crushed everyone at Accelerated Reader. Scott was an aloof underachiever. Frank, Gary, and I joked that Scott must have slipped through the cracks. I was the teacher's pet. School was my refuge, a safe place where I could hide behind a smile and good grades. Enrichment was where I learned to use my creative brain to analyze art, solve problems, and find meaning in things that didn't have quick and easy answers. Looking back, that was the seed of my creative life, that spark trying to stay alive in the middle of my personal chaos. The Torrance test itself has become one of the most widely used assessments of creativity in the world. And a 50-year follow-up study found that Torrance scores can predict long-term personal and professional achievement. According to researcher K.H. Kim, creative people aren't just artists or musicians. They're engineers, doctors, scientists, people who go beyond the job description to invent, discover, and reshape the world. And here's the kicker. Creativity and intelligence aren't even closely related. The Torrance test measures originality, detail, and expressiveness. If you draw a whale and call it a whale, you get 0 points. Call it Moby Dick's missing child, that scores. Professor Kim further explains that creativity requires abstract thinking. Non-creative minds hate that. They want to slam the door shut with certainty. She also identified 3 types of gifted kids: high intelligence and high creativity, low intelligence and high creativity, high intelligence and low creativity. And many of those highly creative kids, they feel suffocated in school, mislabeled as underachievers. That's why this research resonates with me so deeply. It reminds me of my enrichment group. 4 kids, 4 different paths, all proving that individuals manifest creativity in myriad ways. Gary, the class clown, is now a doting dad and award-winning teacher. Frank, the bookworm, is a real estate developer. Scott, the so-called underachiever, is a World Series of Poker champion. He quit law after 1 day and, with his wife's blessings, pursued poker professionally. And me, the teacher's pet, I'm a creator traveling the world with my love, sharing these stories with you. And there's something else I learned later on. Studies show that around age 10 or 11, children's creative growth starts to decline. That's when we begin to trade curiosity for conformity, trying to fit into what the world expects of us. Maybe that's why this age is my favorite group to mentor through WeExcel.org. Because if we can nurture creativity before it starts retreating deep inside of us, we can help kids keep that creative spark alive for life. In high school, I finished as the class valedictorian, number one in the class of 1999. But let's be honest, I wasn't the smartest person of our 42 student class. School was just safer than home, and high achievement was my survival mode. My SATs, fine. Not genius level, just enough to bruise my ego. When I got to Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, everything shifted. I started learning more outside the classroom than inside of it. I always had a job or internship, and in my senior year, I found my way into the newsroom as a part-time obituary clerk and reporter at the Home News Tribune. I fell in love with telling people stories. That was over 21 years ago, just before the internet uprooted the print industry. But after college, my career felt like open water. Every so often, I'd wash up on an island of opportunity. I built a few businesses that put me beside the most powerful in Hollywood and DC. But my creative drive was fueled by the hot air of ego, extinguishing these moments of brilliance as quickly as they had appeared. My 20s were the dark ages of my life. I was young, ambitious, but still surviving, clinging to a leaky raft patched with half-finished projects and good intentions. It took me over a decade of intentional effort to build navigation systems so I could finally sail out of the dark ages and into my renaissance. And my renaissance wasn't found in achievement, but in service. When I founded WeExcel.org, our nonprofit that now mentors kids to discover their creative voice, something in me healed. Helping children connect with their creativity helped me reconnect with mine. Because when I see those kids, I see the little girl I used to be. Curious, sensitive, trying to make sense of a world that wasn't always safe. And I realized something. Creativity thrives when we're seen, when we're valued, when we belong. Last week, we explored belonging in creative action. I introduced one of the navigation systems I've built, a framework I call the Creator's Wheel of Belonging. Identity, I am creative. Action, I create. Belonging, I am valued. For the first part of my life, I always wanted to be the smartest person in the room. But that's a desire from my ego. Because as the adage goes, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I couldn't find where I belonged because I was misidentifying myself. So let me ask you, have you ever defined yourself by something that wasn't truly you? We Excel Daily is about helping you be a healthy creator. The creator's wheel isn't a straight line. It's a loop we move through again and again. When we're healthy and grounded, it helps us grow. But when we're not, when we act from ego or old stories we told ourselves, we can reinforce the wrong identity, take the wrong actions, and find belonging in the wrong places. We mistake approval for connection, achievement for purpose. That's why self-awareness matters. I am creative isn't about being exceptional. It's about being authentic, creating from your truth, not from performance. Belonging and creativity aren't destinations, they're process, they're motion. The creator's wheel helps us find our way back again and again to who we really are if we're awake and aware, especially in this age of AI. A 2024 study published in Science Advances looks at how large language models, LLMs, like ChatGPT, affect human creativity. The use of LLMs helps with volume, but gets in the way of novelty. In other words, AI can generate thousands of ideas, but these ideas tend to be less diverse and original. Which is why creative collaboration, human to human connection, is vital to our survival today. AI can crank out outputs until the servers melt, but it can't bleed, it can't sweat, it can't live our stories. Creativity is how we rise above the noise, how we reconnect with each other, and how we find our way back to our shared humanity. This channel is our creative collaboration. By joining me here, you're also helping WeExcel.org mentor kids to discover their creativity. So let's create, let's belong, because together we excel.